Good morning, everyone. Today, in this lecture, we will continue our discussion over the organotransition compounds with multi-center bond. And in the previous lecture, we discussed about alkene complexes. Today, we will discuss alkyne complexes. Both alkene and alkyne complexes we are considered as a dihydroligands and the alkene complexes we have discussed, and today we are discussing the alkyne complexes. So if you consider alkynes as a ligand, so in the alkynes we have two pi bonds and one sigma bond is there. So two pi bonds are present at the right angle to each other, and therefore they have a greater possibility for bonding with the metals as compared with the alkene. Alkenes have only one double bond, but in case of one pi bond, but in case of alkyne, the two pi bonds are present. So if we are considering the metal ligand bonding via pi bond, then the alkynes are having the greater possibility as compared to alkene. Now, among these two pi bonds, those are available with the alkynes. Either only one or both may be donated to a metal. So we can expect the involvement of one pi bond or both the pi bonds may be involved when the bonding occurs with a metal ion. Now, the reactions of alkynes with different transition metal species, they are different in nature. But if you consider the simple cases, the alkynes, they replace only one or two electron donor ligand from the original complex because they are the dihaptoligands. Okay, so dihaptoligand is that which can donate. Actually, a dihaptoligand is a pi ligand in which the metal is simultaneously combined to two centers. So that dihaptoligand alkynes are also dihaptoligand, and since two centers are involved, uh, they can replace during the reaction only two electron donor ligand from the original complex. So in these only one of the two pi-electron pairs of the alkyne take part in the reaction. Now the simple alkyne complexes they are very similar to the alkene analogs, and the example is taken here like disalt. Disalt is very commonly known alkene complex in which we have ethene unit inside the complex. So the formula of a Zeiss salt, if you remember, it is PTCl3 and we have eta 2 ethene. So Zeiss salt, it can have analogous alkyne complex as well, in which the ethene molecule is replaced by the acetylene molecule. So acetylene is now we have an alkyne inside the complex, and this is the alkyne complex analogous to the Zeiss salt. So here you can see this is PtL2 and we have an alkyne here, and Pt an alkyne and X3 minus. So both these type of complexes can be seen in case of alkyne as well, and they are analogous to the Zeiss salt, which is very important complex formed by the alkene molecule. Now, just like the bonding, their structure is also analogous, right? Both are dihaptoligands, so their structure is also analogous to the alkene complex. In these complexes, one of the dsp2 hybrid orbitals of the metal links with a pair of electron from pi bond of the alkyne. So a metal it can have a dsp2 or sp3 hybridization, but mostly it has a dsp2 hybridization. So the one of the dsp2 hybrid orbital of the metal, it accepts the electron from the pi bond of the alkyne. This is the formation of sigma bond where the ligand is donating electron to the metal center. Now alkynes are more electronegative as compared to the alkene, hence they are comparatively stronger pi acceptor. So as you know that these alkynes are having some acidic character, right? They can leave their proton very easily, so they are very electronegative as compared to the alkene. And when a species, when a ligand is electronegative, then It can accept the electron from the metal filled orbitals very easily. So it has been found that the alkynes, they are very strong pi acceptor ligand, and therefore the back bonding is also possible where the metal is donating its electron density to the ligand empty orbital. So that case is also possible in case of alkyne complexes. Now, because the alkynes, they have two pi bonds, right? Two pi bonds are present. It means two p orbitals are free on one carbon atom, and we have two carbon atoms. So total number of p orbitals will be four. Now, when these four p orbitals of the pi bond, they will undergo the linear combination. Then, as a result of that, four molecular orbitals will be formed. Now, among these four molecular orbitals, two will be the pi bonding molecular orbital, and two will be pi star anti bonding molecular orbitals. Now, all these molecular orbitals, they are capable of interacting with the metal orbital. We know that the electron density will go entirely to the bonding molecular orbital. So basically, when the donating type of bonding takes place, when the electrons are being donated from the alkyne to the metal center, then the pi bonding molecular orbital will be involved because they are having the electron density that can be donated to the metal center. But when it comes to the back bonding, that is when the electrons are to be accepted from the filled metal orbitals to the empty orbitals, in that case we have pi star empty bonding orbitals. These are the empty orbitals available on the alkyne species, and generally it has been seen that the out of the one or two electron pairs that can be donated to the metal atom, they are utilized in the mononuclear complexes, and just like the carbonyl complexes, the alkyne complexes, they are also following the 8 electron rule and the EAN rule, 18 electron rule and the EAN rule. So here you can see a complex of molybdenum in which a mononuclear complex is formed. So these two pi bonds which are available in the alkyne, they are actually placed perpendicular to each other. Basically, these two pi bonds are what? They are two empty p orbitals which are not taking part in the hybridization. And in the alkyne, we have sp hybridization of carbon. So two p orbitals on the carbon, they are free, and obviously they will be at the right angle to each other. So these two pi bonds, they can they are actually located at the 90-degree angle from each other, and these cannot function as a bidentate ligand easily. Because at the same time, these both these orbitals cannot take part in the bond formation. They are separated by 90 degrees. So therefore, the alkynes, even when they have two pi bonds and they have four electron pairs available, they cannot behave like a bidentate ligand. So this is a very important question that would be asked, like why the alkyne molecule cannot behave as a bidentate ligand. The simple reason is because these two pi bonds, they are located at perpendicular to each other at 90 degree to each other. So therefore, in such cases, the alkyne molecule cannot behave like a bidentate ligand. So sometimes in case of binuclear complexes, these can be utilized for linking the two metal atoms. And example is like dicobalt octacarbonyl. When the reaction occurs with the acetylene molecule, it links as a bidentate ligand replacing two molecules. So here is one exception, one example in which the alkynes are also behaving like a bidentate ligand. This is a dicobalt octacarbonyl complex reacting with the acetylene molecule, and here two carbonyls are replaced by one alkyne. So you can say that since two carbonyls are replaced and the one carbonyl is, it is monodentate ligand. So when two monodentate ligands are replaced from the complex, you can say that the alkyne molecule here is behaving like a bidentate ligand. So in this complex, two pi electron pairs are donated to the cobalt atom, and the acetylene molecule forms a bridge between the two cobalt atoms. So basically, what is happening here? The acetylene molecule is acting like a bridge because this is dicobalt complex. So between the two cobalt atoms, The acetylene is behaving like a bridge, and therefore it is combined to one acetylene is combined to two cobalt at the same time. So therefore you can say that it is behaving like a bidentate ligand. So this is very important question that can be asked, like how you can say that alkyne molecules cannot behave as a bidentate ligand very easily, but yet you can give one exception here. That is the example of this complex. Now, let us move forward towards the method of preparation for alkyne complexes. So, these are the methods. The first method we have is a simple method of their preparation, which involves the replacement of carbonyl from the metal complexes by alkyne. Now, if you remember, this method is very much similar to the methods of preparation those we studied in case of the alkene complexes, and there as well the synthesis of alkene complexes can be done by replacement of the carbonyl from metal complexes, and in that case the alkenes were replacing the carbonyl, but here the alkynes are replacing the carbonyl, and therefore we can get alkyne complexes. So few reactions are mentioned here. This is MCO6, any hexacarbonyl of the metal, like it can be molybdenum or tungsten. And this is my any substituted alkyne molecule. Under the UV light, one of the carbonyl is replaced by one acetylene, one alkyne, that is substituted alkyne, and one carbonyl is released. So here one carbonyl is substituted by the alkyne molecule, so it is behaving like a monodentate ligand, and metal could be any of the molybdenum or tungsten. In the second reaction, you can see this complex of manganese. It is reacting with the alkyne, and if you can see clearly here, cyclopentadienyl, it is not replaced by the alkyne, right? If the carbon is present in the complex, they are replaced by the alkyne molecule. In the third reaction, again, you can see this is a complex of metal, and we have substituted alkyne molecule containing the phenyl group. So here it is behaving like a dihaptoligand, and this eta 2 actually represent that the metal here, that is the manganese, it is combined to both these carbons, or the bonding is from here, right? There is no direct linkage of metal and carbon, rather our metal is linked to both the carbons at the same time. And here the eta 5, it represented all the 5 carbons are attached to the metal at the same time. So we have more simple methods for the synthesis of alkyne complexes, like in this uh, uh, carbonyl of iron, you can see the acetylene is used, and the alkyne is replacing one of the carbonyl and behaving like a monodentate ligand or dihaptoligand. So you should not confuse between these two terms. When we are talking about monodentate, bidentate, tridentate ligand, it means that how many number of electron pairs are there with the ligand which can be donated. So here in the alkyne molecule, one electron pair can be donated to the metal. In that case, it will be monodentate ligand, and because we have two pi bonds, so another pair of electrons are also available. That can also be donated sometimes, like the case of that octacarbonyl dicobalt that we have seen in the previous slide. So in that case, it will behave like a bidentate ligand, but it will always be a dihapto ligand. Why it is so? Because it has two carbon atoms. So always and always it will be a dihapto ligand. So moving towards the next reaction, this is the metal hydride complex, and when the substituted alkyne attacks on it, it replaces one of the hydrides, and here it has replaced two hydrides at the same time. So you can say that it is behaving like a eta 2, right? Uh, this should be here eta 2 complex. So this should be eta 2 because it has replaced two hydrogens from the complex, and at the same time it is also replacing one cyclopentadiene. So two hydrogens are evolved, and the metal here in this reaction could be niobium or tantalum. Similarly, platinum, potassium chloroplatinate in this, from which is a precursor of the Zeiss salt. It can also be used and the substituted alkyne molecule is used. So when they react together, metal alkyne complex is formed as a result of the reaction. So these were the simple methods. Now, what are the other methods by which we can prepare the alkyne complex? So we have reactions in which the ethyne molecule replaces two monodentate ligands. Like we have just seen in case of that cobalt complex, cobalt carbonyl. In that case, the ethyne molecule it was replacing two monodentate ligands. So here is the example of a vanadium complex. Here we have tetracarbonyl and this cyclopentadienyl. So when it is attacked by a substituted alkyne, it is actually replacing the two carbonyls at the same time. So when it has replaced two carbonyl, but only one molecule of alkyne is getting inside the complex, so you can see that it is behaving like a bidentate ligand because it has replaced two monodentate ligands. So such reactions are also known. And moving towards the other reactions, so two pairs of pi electrons donated in two metal atoms with the alkyne functioning as a bridging ligand. So this alkyne, it is acting as a bidentate ligand, and also it is forming a bridge between the two metal atoms. So here you can see that this is my octa carbonyl dicobalt complex, and this is my phenyl substituted alkyne molecule. So one of the carbonyl on both the cobalt it is replaced by the uh, same number, that is one molecule of alkyne. So you can say one alkyne has replaced two carbonyl, right? So two carbonyls are getting released here, that you can see. So since it has replaced two carbonyl, it is behaving like a bidentate ligand. But how it is getting attached with the metal? So it is forming a bridge-like structure between two cobalt, and therefore you can see the carbon is forming bond between both the cobalt atom. Both the carbons they are forming bond with both the cobalt. So in this case, it is behaving like a bidentate ligand and also a bridging ligand. Similar is the case of rhenium. This is triphenyl phosphine. P is missing here. So this triphenyl phosphine dirodium, and it is attacked by again a substituted alkyne molecule. So the alkyne is now behaving like a bidentate bridging ligand between the two metal atoms, between the two rhodiums, and two PF3 are released. So it is actually PF3. So in these reactions, you can see that the alkyne ligand it can behave in different manners. It can be attached to the metal in diheptomonodentate form, diheptobidentate form, and in the last case here, it is dihepto as well as uh, bidentate, and also acting as a bridging ligand. So these are the various cases. In these reactions, when the bridging is taking place, they generally form polynuclear complexes. Polynuclear complexes are when we have so many nucleus, we have so many centers involved in the bonding process, and so many bridges are formed. So this is the reaction of iron carbonyl with acetylene, and that is substituted acetylene, and it often gives special products. So the product getting formed here, you can see we have three iron present in the complex, and they are already having a bond between them. Each of the iron is having three carbonyls. Actually, each of the iron was having four carbonyls. So one carbonyl from each of the carbon is replaced by the acetylene, and a polynuclear complex is formed. So here you can see the carbon atoms, they are combined with each of the iron, right? This is the carbon combined with this iron, and this iron. And here also the carbon is making bond with all the three iron atoms. So here you can see that special category of complexes is formed. So one carbon is involved with bond in with the two irons, and one is involved in bonding with the two irons. So polynuclear complexes they are very important category, and they can also be formed by such reactions. So again, you can see a different carbonyl of iron has been taken here. That is pentacarbonyl iron, and substituted alkyne molecule is used. So here you can see the alkyne. It is forming a cyclic structure, and FeCO3 is attached to all of them. So two carbonyls are replaced, and two alkenes are involved here. Again, a special category of complex. You can see it is having a different structure, and the acetylene molecule, they combine together to form a pentacyclic ring. And iron atoms, they are attaching to the double bonds present in the ring. Again, you can see this is a special category of complex. So you can see here that acetylene can be reacted with the metal carbonyls, and a variety of products can be obtained by such reactions. Let us see now bonding and structure in the metal alkyne complexes. So we know that alkynes are having two pi bonds, and they may any of them can bind metal utilizing one or both sets of pi electron pair. So they are actually having a greater possibility for bonding. Now, although the bonding in the alkyne complex could be easily interpreted in terms of Dewar-Chat-Dickinson model. We have discussed this Dewar-Chat-Dickinson model, and it was used to explain the structure of metal carbonyls, metal alkene complex, metal alkyne complexes, and all the complexes which involve actually the ligands which are pi acceptor in nature. So there is apart from the model also we have structural evidences that the rehybridization occurs to form relatively strong sigma bonds, and as the alkyl halide RC triple bond C minus is isoelectronic with NC and CO ligand. So what happens here? Eta 1, that is monoheptoalkynyl transition metal complexes are also formed. So we have seen that they have acidic character, and they can lose one of the hydrogen or one of the alkyl groups so easily. So due to their that electronegative character, and the thing that they are isoelectronic with the NC and CO ligands, the monoheptotype of alkynyl transition metal complexes can also be formed. And when the alkynyl is behaving as a monohepto eta 1, it means that only one carbon is attached to metal. And in that case, the bonding will be quite polar in nature, because this is my negative ion and metal ion is a positive ion. So this will have a more like a polar character than the covalent bond. So such type of linkage is also possible, and apart from that, we can also have a sigma donor and pi acceptor character. So let us check it with the help of this diagram. Here you can see this is the metal atom having orbitals, the d orbitals over the metal atoms, and on the alkyne molecule we have this is the bonding molecular orbital, and these are the anti-bonding molecular orbital, right? So this bonding molecular orbital, it is containing electrons, and these electrons are being donated to the hybridized orbital of the metal. Okay, so we have seen that generally they have a dsp2 hybridization, and these hybridized orbitals are actually accepting electrons from the bonding pi molecular orbitals of the alkyne molecule. And similarly, you can see the filled metal orbitals. They are donating their electron density to the empty pi anti-bonding molecular orbital, right? Pi star molecular orbital. So pi MOs, they are the bonding ones, and they are donating, and the pi star MOs, they are empty and they are receiving electron. The ligand is behaving like a strong sigma donor, and as well as it is behaving like a strong pi acceptor. So when it is donating, the sigma bond is formed, when it is accepting, a pi bond is formed, and this back bonding is actually strengthening the bonding between metal and carbon. So this can be explained by the Dewar-Chat-Dickinson model. And here you can see we have alkyne, and the filled orbitals are donating electron density to the empty hybridized orbital of the metal, and the empty orbitals are receiving the electron density from metal. So this is a special type of bonding that can be explained by Debye-Chet-Dickinson model, and we have used this model earlier also when we were discussing the structure of metal carbonyls and metal alkynes. Sorry, metal alkene complexes. Their structure can be explained by using the same concept. In the formation of a sigma bond of the above type, this type of sigma bond, which was formed by donation of electron from the filled bonding pi MOs of the alkyne to empty hybridized metal orbitals. So this type of bonding, the C triple bond C bond should be expected to become weaker. And similar was the observation in case of alkene, and we have seen that in case of metal alkene complexes, when the bonding takes place between the carbon and metal atom, this bond actually weakens the double bond character of C double bond C. Similarly, in case of the alkynes as well, when the bonding takes place between the metal and the carbon, this will actually shift the position of carbon triple bond carbon absorption in the IR spectroscopy. So this shift was also seen in case of the alkene complexes, and here in the alkyne complexes also this is reflected in the lowering of the C triple bond C vibration frequency by about 150 centimeter inverse as compared to the free acetylene. So when the vibrational frequency of this bond is getting decreased, it means that there is weakening of bond, and this is as compared to the free acetylene. So free acetylenes, they have stronger carbon-carbon triple bond character as compared to the alkyne that is already bonded with the metal atom. Now, regarding the nature of the bonding of monoheptoalkyne complexes, the Debye-Chet-Dickinson model appears to be applicable, that we have just seen in the previous diagram. It appears to be applicable in these also, as in pi and pi star orbitals, of which one lies in the MCC plane, that is metal carbon carbon plane. So the pi and pi star, they are similar to that in the alkene analog. This was the case, and also is perpendicular to the MCC plane. So this latter pair has also symmetry characteristics appropriate for bond formation with the transition metal d orbital. So among the two pi bonds, we were having in these two pi bonds 4p orbitals, and after the LCAO 4 MOs were formed. So here the discussion is for those 4 MOs. The first pair of the MO pi, this is double dash and pi star. So this is in the plane of the MCC, and another p orbital is actually perpendicular to the plane of the metal carbon carbon. So that is pi perpendicular and pi star. So the latter pair, in which the molecular orbitals are perpendicular to the plane of metal carbon carbon, their symmetry characteristic is similar to the alkene, and they are actually the appropriate one for bond formation with transition metal d orbitals. Evidence for a tendency towards the carbon double bond carbon in the diheptoalkyne transition metal complexes. It is seen in the IR spectrum as well as the NMR spectroscopy, whether it is H1 NMR or C13 NMR. So these spectral data can be used to illustrate the structure of metal alkyne complexes, and this can be used in support of the X-ray diffraction studies. So some characteristic structure of complexes I am showing you. Let us see some of the characteristic structures. So in this complex A, you can see this platinum. It is combined with the two triphenyl phosphine. So these two triphenyl phosphine are attached to the platinum atom, but it is forming a pi bond, or you can say dihepto bond with the alkene molecule. So the alkyne molecule, you can see the platinum is attached to both the carbons of the alkyne, and here you can see there is lengthening of the bond, lengthening of the carbon-carbon triple bond, and this lengthening actually shows the weakening of the carbon-carbon triple bond. In this second complex, we have a nickel complex here. And in this complex, each of the nickel atom is combined with one cyclopentadienyl, and the alkyne is behaving like a bridging ligand. So the bridging is taking place between the two nickel, that is mu has attached with the alkyne. So mu is written here. This is PHC triple bond CPH. So we have a diphenyl acetylene, and this is acting as a bridging ligand between the two nickel atoms. In this complex C, you can see we have two cobalts. Each of the cobalt is attached to the carbonyl, three carbonyls, and actually it was octacarbonyl dicobalt. So two of the carbonyls, they are actually replaced by the alkyne. We have just seen the method for synthesis of such complex. So two carbonyls are replaced and one alkyne is getting attached. So here the alkyne molecule, you can see it is not only acting as a bridging ligand, which is represented by mu, but also it is a dihepto ligand and also a monodentate, bidentate ligand, because at the same time it is combined to both the cobalt atoms. So here again you can see there is change in the bond length of the carbon-carbon triple bond. In this complex D, we have just seen this structure, I guess. So this is Fe3CO9, and we have two alkynes here. So originally this was Fe3CO12. So three carbonyls are actually replaced by two alkynes. So it means that one of the alkyne is behaving as a bidentate ligand, and one alkyne is behaving as a monodentate ligand. So let us confirm this from the structure. So we have three iron here, and each of the iron is attached to three carbonyls. So that is the case. Three carbonyls are present, and like we have seen that one we have two alkyne molecule and they are actually attached to the three irons. So here this carbon is attached to three irons, and here this carbon is attached to only one iron. So so here you can see no, two irons are attached. So here you can see the alkyne molecule, it is behaving like a bridging ligand, as well as it is also behaving like a bidentate ligand. Moving towards the next structure here in this complex E, you can see a complex of rhodium. And two rhodiums are involved, and each of the rhodium is having bond with the carbonyl and cyclopentadienyl, which is behaving like a pentahaptoligand. And here you can see the alkyne is behaving like a bridging ligand between two rhodium atoms. So it acts as a bridging ligand, and the substitution present on the alkyne molecule, it is CF3CF3. So the carbon is attached to the rhodium. So although it is a bridging ligand, but it is a monohepto type of linkage, right? One carbon is attached to the rhodium metal, one carbon attached to rhodium metal. So clear distinction is that only one carbon is attached to the rhodium. So the alkyne, although it is acting as a bridging ligand, it is a monohepto type of linkage present here. Now let us see what are the common reactions of such complexes. So as expected, the reactivity of the coordinated alkyne would be some extent influenced by the nature of the metal involved. So the alkyne complexes of transition metals which are in the low oxidation state, they generally undergo reaction with the electrophiles. And why is it so? Because in that case, when the metal transition metal to which the alkyne is combined, it is in the low oxidation state. So the metal will have strong electron density which it will donate to the acetylene or the alkyne molecule. Alkyne will accept back by back bonding. The metal electron density will be back donated to the empty orbitals of alkyne, and therefore it becomes electron rich. So in such cases, when the transition metal is in the low oxidation state, the complexes are susceptible for the electrophilic reactions where the electrophile attacks over such complex. While the complexes, metal alkyne complexes in which the transition metal is in the higher oxidation state, in that case the metal is not having any unused electron density over it. So in that case, such type of complexes, they are susceptible for the nucleophilic attack. because the acetylene has actually donated its electron to the metal, and now it becomes electron deficient, so it becomes susceptible for the nucleophilic attack. So first of all, let us see the displacement reactions of metal alkyne complexes. Here the displacement of one alkyne by another has been exploited for the preparation of new alkyne complex. So we know that alkynes are very good at replacing the ligands of similar characteristics from the complex. So when an alkyne is already present in the complex, that can be explained by a different, that can be displaced by a different ligand, and what happens here? The new alkyne complexes are formed by such reactions. So here you can see this CH triple bond CH acetylene molecule is replaced by alkyl acetylene, and acetylene is now free here. So in these reactions, the case of the alkyne's displacement can be represented as the acetylene is much lower as compared to the alkyl acetylene and aryl acetylene and nitroacetylene. So you can see when the electronegativity of the group is increasing, when we have aryl and nitro groups present on the acetylene as a substituent, in that case they become so electronegative that they easily replace this already present acetylene in the complex. Now, the following two reactions, they represent two types of displacement from the alkyne complex with the reagents other than alkynes. So, other than alkyne, the displacements are also possible. So, here the acetylene is displaced by triphenyl phosphine, which is actually a stronger ligand as compared to acetylene. So, it displaces all the acetylene out of the complex, and uh, only the triphenyl phosphine is present as a ligand in the product. Similarly, ethylene diamine, that is EN, and the solvent used was THF. It was displacing the acetylene molecule in the complex, and we have ethylene diamine, which is entered into the metal complex, and since it is a bidentate ligand, so here you can see the two chlorides are forcefully sent out of the complex. So only one chloride left inside the complex, and in place of the acetylene, the two chlorides are displaced by this bidentate ligand, that is En. Now, in the metal alkyne complexes, we also have reactions on the double bond of the coordinated alkene. So we know that this double bond is getting weakened after the alkyne is attached to the metal. So the alkyne complexes, they also undergo a number of other interesting reactions like the oligomerization and hydrometallation. So let us see these reactions one by one. So here you can see we have a substituted acetylene molecule, and in the presence of palladium second, this reacts with the one palladium, and after the further reaction with carbonyl and alcohol, the substituted type of compound is formed. So this is the type of ester. Then in the second case, you can see the reaction with nickel carbonyl takes place at a certain condition of temperature and pressure. And again, the displacement occurs on the acetylene hydrogen. In the third reaction, you can see the displacement takes place by MEOH. So the MEO, that is methoxy group, they are combined at both the places of alkyne molecule. So these reactions are basically characterizing the attack over the triple bond. That is the double bond is actually triple bond is actually converting into double bond. So one of the pi bond is actually getting attacked in these reactions. Secondly, we have reactions with nucleophiles. So as we know that if the metal transition metal involved in the metal alkyne complex, it is having a higher oxidation state. In that case, the alkene is susceptible for nucleophilic attack. So in these reactions, the nucleophilic reagent reacts with the metal in the cis form or with proton of alkyne in the trans form. So these reactions are mentioned here. You can see on this acetylene molecule, this alkyne molecule, the reaction is taking place in presence of methyl alcohol. And the alkyl group, actually the carbon of the acetylene, the carbon of the alkyne, it is getting attached with the oxomethyl group. So attack is basically taking place on this double bond, and oxymethyl is a good nucleophile, so it attacks on the carbon. Then in the second case, again you can see methyl group is getting attached with the carbon here, and in the third category of reaction, you can see the this acetylene is actually converting into again an OMe group. Oxymethyl is getting attached over here. So these are the reactions representing the attack of nucleophile on metal alkyne complexes. The third type of reaction we have is a reaction with the electrophiles. So in such reaction, we know that the transition metal in the complex, it is having a low oxidation number, and since it is having low oxidation number, we know that the complex is now susceptible for the reaction of electrophile because it is having electron density over it. So here are the reactions representing the electrophilic attack over the metal alkyne complexes. So here we have a complex of platinum. We know that platinum exists in only +2 state. So it is in the low oxidation state, and the orbitals are filled with electron. So when such reaction take place, you can see the alkyne becomes free of the complex. In the similar reaction of the molybdenum complex of this type, you can see this is my alkyne molecule, a dihaptoligid. And when the reaction takes place with the attack of the electrophile, again my uh, alkyne is getting freed out of the complex. And in the third reaction, again a different type of alkene is released. So you can see this could be a method for the synthesis of different type of alkenes, and by using the suitable method, a specific type of alkene can be synthesized by such reactions. Now I have a few questions for you from the today's session. So I just want to ask you, the first question is, the polynuclear complex obtained as a result of the reaction between Fe3CO12 and PHC triple bond CPH. So this is very characteristic reaction. We have just seen what type of complex is formed by such reaction, and I want you to draw that complex in your notebook. Please draw the structure of that complex and go through the study material. The second question for today is, in alkyne complexes, bonding is represented according to which method? Which method is used for for explaining the bonding between the alkyne complexes, and they are analogous to which? So let me tell you this: they are analogous to the alkene complexes, right? They are very similar to alkene complexes. Just like alkene, they are also bihapto ligands. Now, in the third question, alkyne molecule behaves as both blank and blank. So you need to find out the answer, and you need to write it down on your notebook. In the fourth question, I have, during reactions of the nucleophile with the alkyne complexes, the nucleophile either links with the metal atom in blank or links with the proton of alkyne in blank. So you need to find it out also, and please note it down in your copy. So that is the completion of our discussion on metal alkyne complexes. This is the reference book I used for today's lecture. Uh, that is all from my side. I sincerely thank you all for joining.